You've done all the work, ticked the boxes, completed the actions for the longest time, so why is rest still so difficult? Why does it feel that anxiety still wins some of the days? The difficult question here really is that, were you present when you were doing those things that you did? Were you actually there? Were you truly resting, or were you just horizontal? Were you actually breathing deep, or just enough that the person leading the class thought you were engaged? It's not uncomfortable to admit that, okay, well, maybe I've just been ticking boxes and completing actions without truly being in it, without truly feeling what it is that I'm doing. Could it even be that you think, this isn't going to work for me? Or that, oh my God, if this does work, that means that I'm going to become a completely new person. Then what? Then this old life certainly isn't going to fit anymore. What is it that actually makes you tired? Is it your body that's tired? Or is it your soul that's tired? In the morning when you need to get up, does your day, the thought of your day, does it excite you? Or does it fill you with dread? If these techniques that you are wanting to use to feel better, whether you go to yoga or you meditate or do breath work or whatever it is that you do, what if it works? What if you start really changing as a person? Will you still be able to tolerate going to the office every day? This is a real worry, a real underlying worry that a person can have. Absolutely. Is my marriage going to make it? If I truly grow out of this, whatever this is that I'm finding myself in, right? These are messy, big, non-linear questions that are not often talked about. When we start engaging with growth and healing and doing the work, maybe it's easy to look for kind of a linear journey, something that looks quite kind of neat and Instagrammable, but that's seldom the truth. The very basic level of it is when you stop, when you actually stop and get silent, it all comes up. You can't hide from your pain, you can't deny it. Whatever you want to heal, you're going to need to feel. It needs to come through. That energy needs to move. If it's been suppressed and repressed in the body for the longest time, it'll need to come out. And that in itself is going to actually make a huge difference to how you feel. When my 2 children were small, I was permanently exhausted. I was really struggling with sleep deprivation and just getting used to this whole new thing in life called no time and no resources for self, really, because my young children were requiring so much of my time. Of course, that is perfectly natural. But the exhaustion took me to a place where I could barely tolerate anybody asking me for anything. And that's not a good way to be, especially for somebody like me whose profession is to help others. And my answers, my prayers were answered in the form of TRE, tension release exercise, trauma and tension release exercise training that came to town. And so I dived right in there with both boots on for a weekend of releasing, learning, restoring. And on Monday morning, not much had changed in my life on the outside. I still didn't get a solid night's sleep. There was still a huge demand on my resources and my time, of course. My children didn't just magically grow over the weekend, but I was coping. I could get up in the morning and go through my day without needing to prop my eyes open, because I had so much more energy available to me. The tension patterns that had been holding a whole bunch of my energy hostage, it requires the energy bundle in the muscle alone is a lot of resources that are not moving, but all that extra energy that's required to hold it in place. I mean, this is huge. Now when we release it and all of that energy gets back into the circulation, back into your the pool of available resources, that's massive. So when we start to respond to our body's needs for true restoration, true release and rest, we never know how it's going to show up in our life, what the impact of it immediately is. This is not something we can discover from looking at other people's pictures on Instagram. This is a process that requires openness from you. Openness to see what comes up and face it, feel it, move with it. Nobody knows where you've been, and nobody knows the steps that are ahead of you to get to where you want to be. So if one day anxiety overwhelms you and seems to be winning, even though you've done all this work and you think you should be able to hold it calm already, it doesn't mean that you are losing and that you've failed. No, it's a process. It's a process that's unfolding. What you are feeling, what's coming up, it's all just energy. Your tiredness is a signal. Your body doesn't want anything more of that, whatever it is. If you've just had a big meal that's made you tired, well, your metabolism wasn't really that happy with it. If you suddenly feel like you've hit a wall, just take a moment to consider, what is it that I was meant to be doing next? Maybe your body is trying to say, that really isn't aligned with who you are. You don't want that. And I get it. Sometimes we're going to need to do it anyway because we have responsibilities and duties, for lack of a better word. But to take a break, honor yourself, rest and regulate for a moment, to steady yourself before consciously stepping into fulfilling that responsibility can make such a big difference. Trying to come back to center throughout the day and show yourself, listen, I know that this is what drains me. I know this makes me feel tired to the bone. I know this is not exactly in alignment with my purpose, even if I don't know what is, but I'm just going to take a break and steady myself because I have to do this right now. I'm going to choose to do this anyway. So let's team up here, my body. Acknowledge your tiredness. Give yourself little breaks so that you don't need to quit in the evening. So that you don't need to throw yourself in a corner of the couch or pour that second glass of wine and just be done with the day because you've had enough. There's a massive difference between quitting and resting. Huge. The way you end up feeling on the other side of it is all you need to realize. Do you feel restored and rested? Or do you feel even more exhausted, like you're still walking through mud? Simple as that. Maybe in the evening you've decided to 9 o'clock I'll have a cup of tea. 9:15, I'll light a candle and journal a little. 9:30, I'll do 20 minutes of yin yoga to prepare myself gently for rest. This is a beautiful, again, kind of Instagrammable situation. But maybe 10 o'clock arrives and you're lying in bed with a million thoughts running through your mind, your body still feeling restless, tense, uncomfortable. So maybe your routine was not what you needed that night. Maybe what you needed was to run, to shake, to dance, to move, let energy move. Maybe you needed to scream. Maybe you needed to, do something different. So what I'm saying is when you are truly supportive to yourself, when you are listening to your needs, when you're wanting to respond to yourself so that you can be openly an active part of this process, then it's very difficult to settle into a routine that you can repeat day in, day out, endlessly. We don't work that way. We are cyclical beings living on a cyclical planet. So from one day to the next or 1 month to the next, our needs change. And how we meet them can change. So the why you are doing what you are doing is the important part, rather than the thing that you are doing. The why. What are you supporting yourself with? What do you want to achieve? Get clear on the why. Mentioning this evening routine, it's actually, a very important point. Because so much talk happens around morning routines. Evening routines are spoken about a lot less, yet sometimes they can be more important. Morning routine is beautiful because that sets the day, that sets the backdrop for everything that happens thereon. It sets your RAS, your lenses. I'm 100% behind a morning routine. Win your morning, win your day. Yes. But what about the evening? Especially if you are in a habit of quitting. At some point during the day, you just have to throw in the towel. That's it. I'll pick it up again tomorrow. Now I just need to wedge, lie down, scroll Netflix, drink wine, whatever it is. If you are in a habit of needing to quit in the evening, consider having an evening routine for a time. If you need help designing one, I'm here, fully able to support you. So maybe to start, it could look like something that you do every single night for 15 minutes. But eventually, the why needs to take over, and your routine needs to morph according to what it is that your body is asking you for. This channel is all about starting to take the body with you for the ride. Not just think and figure out and understand, but feel. Feel. Enough of this performing something because we know it looks right and other people have found it to be helpful. No more faking that I'm doing all of these things and therefore I appear to be well and happy and sorted out, when in the meanwhile on the inside things are not feeling good at all. Yeah. Enough faking, enough performing, and more real, less linear, more open to how this whole journey unfolds. Open to the fact that your journey will be yours, individual. It'll look different to everybody else's. Whenever you're breaking a habit, whenever you are changing your state, it will for a time feel a little uncomfortable because the chemical addiction that you will have inside of your body to all the how you've been feeling has created a chemical state in your body which has become the known state, and there will be an attachment to it. Maybe the word addiction is a bit strong, it's true, but attachment. We like to feel how we know. We like the known. We like the known, let's put it that way. So when you start changing, it will feel uncomfortable for a time. It will feel unfamiliar, and many parts of you will want to return back to what you've known. So if you feel that there's going to be a lot that bubbles up when you finally stop to listen, you don't have to do it alone. You can always get help and guidance, and I like helping people fast track through the beginning parts so that it becomes easier to start journeying alone, having already a more fluid conversation going on with the body. So I'm here for you if you need help. But just for today, the inner shift that I would love you to acknowledge or reach for or have on the table as an option is that learning to rest is not linear, that you should be open to how it unfolds, and perhaps for a time you could play with having an evening routine as opposed to morning routine. Better yet, both. How does that sound? Let me know in the comments what you resonated with this episode.